This is Mr. Islam Yusuf. Our lesson today about ratios and proportion. In this lesson we'll know what is the meaning of the ratio, the meaning of the proportion, solving proportion, the meaning of the rate, and the meaning of the skill model. Now we'll start with the meaning of the ratio. Ratio is comparison between two numbers by division. So we can write this comparison as x to y, or in this form x to y, or in the form of the fraction like x over y. Because we can write it as a fraction, so we have to follow all of the instructions of the fraction. You have to write this fraction in the simplest form, so we have to write the ratio in the simplest form. And that is one of the ways to check if the two ratios are equal or not. Now with the first problem, determine whether each pair of the ratios are equivalent or not. The first one, 2 over 3 and 16 over 24. As we said before, we have to write the ratio in the simplest form. So we have the first ratio, which is 2 over 3, and the second one is 16 over 24. The first ratio written in the simplest form, but you can find the second one is not written in the simplest form. You can simplify the two terms by 8. So if you divide 16 by 8, the answer will be 2, and the 24 divided by 8, the answer is 3. Now you can find that the two ratios are equal. We have the first one is 2 over 3, and the simplest form of the second is 2 over 3. So we have two equivalent fractions. Number 2, 6 over 10 and 2 over 5. Now we have to write the first one 6 over 10, and that's the second one 2 over 5. 6 over 10 is not the simplest form because we can simplify it by 2. Divided by 2 equals 3. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And 2 over 5 is the simplest form because we can divide 2 and 5 by the same number. Because they are not equal, so they are not equivalent ratios. Number 3, 1 over 6 and 5 over 30. 1 over 6 and 5 over 30. 1 over 6 is the simplest form, but 5 over 30 is not the simplest form because you can divide 5 and 30 by 5. 5 divided by 5 equals 1, and 30 divided by 5 equals 6. Now we have the first and second ratios are equal, so they are equivalent ratios. The second part of our lesson today, which is the proportion. What is the meaning of the proportion? Proportion is equality of two or more ratios. The first ratio is equal to the second ratio. For example, we can say that 0.2 to 1.5 is equal to 1.2 to 9. We can check the answer. We can write 0.2 over 1.5. We can simplify it by multiplying by 10, so it will be 2 over 15. That is the first one. The second one, 1.2 over 9.0. You can simplify it if you multiply it by 10, so we have 12 over 90. Now you can divide both of them by 6. Divided by 6 equals 2. Divided by 6 equals 15. So we have 2 over 15 and 2 over 15. It means they are equal. So we can write as 0.2 to 1.5 is equal to 1.2 to 9. The two terms which lies outside are called extremes, and the two terms which lies inside are called means. If you multiply them, you will find that the product of means equals the product of extremes. If you multiply 0.2 times 9, you will find that the answer is 1.8. And if you multiply 1.5 times 1.2, you will find that the answer will be 1.8. So the product of means equals the product of extremes, and that is one of the ways to check if the two ratios are proportional or not. In this problem, we need to use the cross product to determine whether each pair of the ratios are proportional or not. So the first one, 2 over 3.5 and 8 over 14. To use the cross multiplication, we need to multiply 2 by 14 and 8.5 times 8. So the first one 2 times 14, and the second one is 8 times 3.5. 2 times 14, which equals to 28. 8 times 3.5 equals 28. You will find that the two answers are equal. It means the two ratios are proportional. Number 2, 0.3 over 1.5 and 0.5 over 2. By the same way, we need to check if 0.3 times 2 is equal to 0.5 times 1.5. For the first one, you will find that the answer is 0.6. 0.5 times 1.5 equals 0.75. Because the two products are not equal, it means the two ratios are not proportional. Number 3, 0.2 over 1.8 and 1 over 0.9. We need to check by the same way, 0.2 times 0.9 and 1 times 1.8. If you multiply them, you will find that the answer is 0.18, and 1 times 1.8 equals 1.8. The two products are not equal, it means the two ratios are not proportional. Number 4. 15 over 36 and 35 over 42. By the same way, we'll multiply 15 times. By the same way, we'll multiply 15 times 42 and 36 times 35. 15 times 42 equals 630. 36 times 35 equals 1260. The two numbers are not equal, it means the two ratios are not equivalent. In this problem, we need to solve each proportion. Solving proportion, it means find the value of the variable which make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. We will solve by using two ways. The first one, we say because the two ratios are proportional, it means the product of mean equal the product of extremes. So we'll start multiplying 5 times x is equals 3 times 10. 5 times x, which is 5x, equals 3 times 10, which equals 30. Then solving the equation, divided by 5, divided by 5, then x is equal to 6. We have another way to solve. We need to find the value of x, that is the value of the variable. The term which is opposite to x must be written at denominator. 10 times 3 will be written at numerator. So we have 10 times 3. Now x will be equals 10 times 3 equals 30 divided by 5 equals 6. So we can solve it in one step. Number 2. R over 8 equals 25 over 40. By the same way, R is equals, using a fraction, the number which is opposite to R will be written down, and 8 times 25 will be written up. Divided by 8 equals 5. Divided by 8 equals 1. Divided by 5 equals 1. Divided by 5 equals 5. So R equals 5. Number 3. X minus 2 over 14 equals 2 over 7. By the same way, x minus 2 is equals, we'll make a fraction, the number which is opposite to x minus 2 will be written down, and 14 times 2 will be written up, times 2. Divided by 7 equals 1, divided by 7 equals 2. Then x minus 2 equals 2 times 2, which equals to 4. By solving the equation, then we add 2, then x equals 6. Number 4. X plus 4 over 5 equals 3 over 8. We'll solve it the same way, write x plus 4 is equals to a fraction. The number which is opposite to x over 4 will be written down, and we have 3 times 5. We can simplify 3 times 5 over 8, so we'll leave it. That's x plus 4 is equals to 15 over 8. By subtracting 4, so x is equal, now 4 will be over 1, 15 times 1, that's 15 minus 8 times 4, which equals to 32, over 8 times 1, which equals to 8. By subtracting, it will be negative 17 over 8. To know how we can subtract fractions, we have a over b, plus or minus, if that's plus or if that's minus, c over d. The answer now will be equals, if that's plus, it will be plus, if that's minus, it will be minus, b times c over b times d.